Welcome back to part 3 of building our personal learning network. Today we're going to focus on contribution. Building your personal learning network began with curation. Curation required that you find valuable resources. Then we moved to reflection, which required that you look at what you have and analyze its value. Both keys to professional online learning allow you to be almost passive. Some call it lurking. A lurker is one who checks their social media accounts and takes from the accounts but doesn't actually give back. The third and final key to professional online learning is contribution. It's time for you to do your part. This is your chance to start sharing your wealth. The simplest way to share is to build a resource library that is shareable. This could be a website, a blog, or any other service. I personally use Digio. Let's take a look. Whenever I'm online and I find a resource that I like, that I think my fellow educators might also like, I add it to Digio. Digio, I have a little hot button at the top of my screen up here, and here is my collection. My collection is separated by tags, so if I want something on Chromebooks, I click on the Chromebook link, and it brings me to any links that I have specified. If I have GAF, which is Google Apps for Education, I click on that link and it brings me to those resources. This account is completely shareable, which lets other people see what I find interesting and also gives them access to resources that I have found. Other shareable resources include Symbaloo, Pearl Trees, and even just a website or a blog. This website belongs to someone who I've never met in person, but I find has an incredible library of resources. So I constantly check back to see what he has going on here. This is an example of someone who is sharing their material. He has things that he has created on here, as well as things that other people have created. Now it's time to take part in the conversation. It's as simple as responding to one other person's comment, or as complex as engaging in a Twitter chat session or a chat session on some other social network. Let's talk about some ways to become social. I personally use Google Plus and Twitter, so I'm going to focus on those two for this demonstration. First, the use of correct hashtags allows you to connect with other educators discussing a similar topic. Hashtags can also be used in Twitter chats to have a scheduled conversation. We're going to take a look at this amazing resource. This is Cybraryman. He has collected resources from all over the internet and put them in one spot. We're going to focus on his Twitter resources. I'm going to click on Educators. I'm going to click on Twitter. And on his Twitter page, he has a list of educational hashtags and also a Twitter education chat schedule. This list includes all of the known scheduled Twitter chats. Right now I'm looking at it in Eastern Standard Time, and I can see that on Saturday morning it is 3:18 p.m. where I am, and if I wanted to, tonight at 6 p.m. I can engage in LM chat, which is elementary or primary school information. These hashtags, like sat chat, I've seen this one going on usually throughout the entire weekend, actually, and you can see these conversations happening on Twitter with these types of hashtags going on. These are what's called a Twitter chat. Switching over to Google Plus. Google Plus tends to use what's known as circles, where you can have various people inside your circles and you can post to circles. They also use communities. I'm a huge fan of communities, and I rarely work outside of them. Once you find your community, it's time to participate. You want to comment, you want to favorite, you want to like, you want to plus, you want to retweet, reblog, share, whatever your social media outlet is using, you want to use those. Every time you comment or favorite or like, you're putting that particular status or information higher up on an algorithm for someone else to find later. These are all ways for you to participate and take very little effort. I'm going to take a moment here to show you one way to participate in the conversation. This is TweetDeck. TweetDeck takes Twitter and breaks it down into various columns. I have searched by several different hashtags, and as we're talking, you're going to see things moving around. This is my notification bar, and these are two hashtags that I follow on a daily basis. Now over here, I have my main Twitter feed, and this is going to have all kinds of interesting things, and anyone I follow is going to show up over here. But if I like something that this person is doing, I could do a simple favorite. And a favorite puts it in a special saved area for me to come back to later, but it also shows that person that they're sharing something that I find relevant. Now, the other way I can involve this conversation is I can do a retweet. And by doing a retweet, I'm sending this out to my own followers. So that's just one way to contribute to the conversation. Those two little clicks right there just made me a deeper participant in the online conversation. Other ways to contribute to your personal learning network are formal and informal education events. TEDx are education-based events using the guidelines of the TED Talks. There are frequently scheduled Google Hangouts, Twitter chats, as we talked about, and ed camps, and other types of conferences. The key to all of this is to remember to play your part. Do not consider for a second that you don't have something valuable to contribute. Your experiences, thoughts, and opinions are just as important as the guy with 10,000 followers. Once again, I want to thank you for watching my videos. The last video will feature a few tips on social networking, some ways that you can manage your workflow. I look forward to hearing your feedback.